The thoroughbred is a magnificent animal, bred for speed, bred to compete, the sport of kings.
Wow, West Coast has it by 6.
It's the all-new LetsGoRacingParks.com. Take a ride into this kind of action.
3 of them are right together with 1 furlong to go.
LetsGoRacingParks.com is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association. It's fun to see them run.
A very pleasant good morning, racing fans, and welcome here to Parks Racing for Let's Go Racing this past weekend. Our big day, 13 races, over $3 million in purses. Over the next half hour, Dick and I will look back at what was a wild and woolly Saturday afternoon here in Parks. We had, of course, the Pennsylvania Derby. Could McKenzie come off that long layoff and win yet another Grade 1 race in a Pennsylvania Derby for Bob Baffert? Could Monomoy Girl go to the Breeders' Cup after 5 consecutive Grade 1 wins? And just when you thought you'd seen everything, we had the Gallant Bob. You don't want to miss the Gallant Bob this year. That's coming up here in just a little bit. Hi, everybody. Keith Jones down on the beautiful first floor. Mr. Pennsylvania Derby himself, Dick Girardi. And Dick, it's not just the day, it's the week. Let's talk about the day. It was a terrific day here. National acclaim, great riders, great trainers, and turned into a beautiful afternoon.
No, it was awesome, Keith. We were just talking as we were getting ready to tape the show. The only thing I feel bad about at the end of every PA Derby year is we only get to do days. We only get to do it once a year.
Right.
Yes, it's so much fun, and the build-up, you know, when the horses start to arrive on Wednesday, and then the trainers and the jockeys, and I mean, we're talking the best of the best, and for one day a year, Parks is in the national spotlight, and it's really become a huge event here in Bensalem. The handle was giant again, 8.9 million, the third highest handle in the history of the racetrack. Only the California Chrome year in 2014 and the Songbird year, when we also had the Derby and Preakness winner and Kentucky Oaks winner, so Catherine Sophia here, were able to eclipse it. So the public has gravitated to it. It's a really cool day, and it was really fun to be a part of it.
And Dick, it is like the whole week. As you talked about, the guys start to come in from out of town. They bring their horses in from out of town. We have a chance to go back to the barns and meet, well, you've met a lot of these guys. I haven't met some of these guys. You see the horses. They bring them over into the paddock to school. And I'll tell you what, those horses don't look like your average $5,000 claiming horse.
No, they don't. No. That's why they are worth millions and have made millions. And yeah, it was fun on Wednesday afternoon. Bruce and I were trying to coordinate so he could get his camera over here. You know, the flight is getting to Wilmington at this time. No, it's not. It's stopping in Kentucky. Maybe it isn't. The van is on its way. Will it ever get here? But yeah, it's just a part of the fun of it, and we're kind of the greeting party for when everybody shows up. And this year, McKenzie and Monomoy Girl were actually on the same flight from Kentucky.
Wow.
McKenzie started in California. They dropped off 5, picked up 5 in Kentucky, and made their way eventually to Wilmington, and then the van up I-95 to get here. And then the preparation, the horses out in the morning, and schooling in the paddock, and all of it. It's very cool to have it here at Parks.
You know, the track makes a great effort to make it a big family day. There's a lot of great stuff out in the picnic grove for the kids to enjoy. You see the grills fired up. It's just the people cover. They were lining up before 6 o'clock in the morning to get in and get their spot ready. And
I'm gonna make a suggestion to management.
Okay.
Open the doors before 11 a.m. on PA Derby Day. I mean, these people are out there for all that time. It's okay. They'll be fine.
Yep, they'll find
I mean, they're acting like it's just a regular day. It's not.
It's not. Well, Dick, let's get to the races. We're going to start with the Pennsylvania Derby, and of course, 9 furlongs, $1 million purse, Grade 1 race. We started with 10. We did lose John Service's number 1 first Monday, as he found an easier spot for us.
He's going to Remington Park. He didn't want to walk out of his stall because he said, "I can't beat this horse." McKenzie's right down the shed.
Well, Dick, you mentioned McKenzie. He ends up 2-1. It was the final price. Mike Smith, of course, Bob Baffert. A Street Sense colt. He only has 4 career starts. He hasn't been out since March the 10th. But as you pointed out, through the course of from March to September, those 3-year-olds have a chance to grow, mature, and get a lot stronger.
Yeah, they really do. And the tip-off here is there are a couple things. First, Bob Baffert's not going to bring this horse here unless he's ready to run his best race. Then if you watched his workouts leading up, you don't see that many 7/8 workouts.
Right.
He had a couple of them. This horse is as fit as he could be. And in January, if you asked Bob, are you going to win the Derby this year? He would have said yes. he would have said, I'm winning it with McKenzie. That's how much he thought of this horse. He obviously did win it.
Right.
McKenzie had gotten hurt in March, but this was always a really, really good horse. And the only question was, could he win at 1 1/8 off a 6-month
I
leg?
think he's kind of a neat-looking horse. He's not that big, robust kind of horse. He's really a sleek kind of horse.
He looks a little like his sire.
Yeah.
That's exactly how Street Sense looked.
Pick number 2, Hofburg, is the second choice at 5-2 for trainer Billy Mott. Irad Ortiz Jr. was on board. Interesting to note that they've decided to put blinkers on. You get a whole bunch of bullet works up at Saratoga. This horse is going to show speed, right?
Yep.
And his graded stake schedule has been demanding, to say the least.
Yes.
He's still looking for that first graded win.
Yeah, I said it on the broadcast, and we can say it now. He's just a horse with all this promise who has not yet delivered on it. And I talked to Bill Mott the last weekend at Saratoga, and he said, look, this horse is better than he's ever been. Remember, he had to miss the Travers because he was ill. But at some point, it's more than just the promise.
Yes,
got to
let's
deliver.
see it. Dick Bravazzo, 9-2. Your man D. Wayne, he dances every dance. But when you look at it, he hasn't won since February,
Well,
and that was by a nose at 21-1 at the Grade 2 Risen Star. Come on, D. Wayne.
That's not going to stop Wayne from participating. if there's a big Grade 1 race, he's going to be in it. Only horse other than Justified to run in all 3 Triple Crown races, but yeah, only 3 for 13, but 1.1 million for Calumet. It's always great to see Wayne back here. But last time we saw him here, remember, he ended up in the hospital. He had that pacemaker inserted, so he was back. He's old but young somehow, and he's everybody's favorite uncle.
In Stilled Regard, 5-1, which I thought was a really short price on him. Mr. Freeze is 9-1. We're expecting him to be in front. Axelrod, 10-1. The Smarty Jones winner.
That was your pick.
Hey,
great
I like
pick,
Axelrod.
He loved Axelrod.
Well, let's take a look. Here's the call of the Pennsylvania Derby.
And they're off in the Pennsylvania Derby. It's an excellent start. They're all across the track. Trigger warning on the outside. McKenzie hustling out of there. Mr. Freeze has been outsprinted here early. He'll settle in behind the front runners. Bravazzo coming forward from the far outside. Look at Bravazzo as they move into the first turn. Long shot, Trigger warning a neck in front. Bravazzo second, McKenzie to the outside. And that will force Mr. Freeze way out into the track. And now trying to angle over is Mr. Freeze. Core Beliefs in to the inside now, moves up in between horses. Axelrod is only 3 lengths off the lead. After that, it's another 4 back to King Zachary and Instilled Regard. And Hofburg showing no speed today with those blinkers. He's at the back of the pack on the outside as they turn into the back stretch. The opening quarter was 23-4, so McKenzie is just to the outside now of Trigger Warning past the 5/8 pole. Core Beliefs is close up at the inside. He's now racing third. Bravazzo back to fourth. Axelrod is in behind horses. On the far outside, it's Mr. Freeze. Hopper beginning to make steady progress from the back along with King Zachary. Nothing yet from Instilled Regard. Half mile was not fast at all. 48-4. That is a very, very slow half mile. So they head on to the far turn of the Pennsylvania Derby, and it is McKenzie. McKenzie down with the neck in front. Trigger warning, trying to hang tough second. Mr. Freeze in a good striking spot. Core Belief still in with a chance. Axelrod is in between horses. Bravazzo beginning to backpedal out of there. Hofburg has been wide throughout. It's McKenzie and long shot. Trigger warning together at the top of the stretch. They come off the turn, and McKenzie has the lead. It's McKenzie, but here comes Axelrod. He'll try to make a race of it on the outside. Furlong to go. McKenzie is in front. Axelrod set down by Joe Bravo. Mike Smith working on McKenzie. McKenzie holding on. Axelrod is full out. McKenzie is clear as they come down to the finish. Baffert, Smith, McKenzie, they've done it. McKenzie has it by 2.
Well, how could we even question if Bob Baffert's horse was going to be ready off a 6-month layoff? Here comes McKenzie, Dick, up close the whole way, takes the lead around the far turn. Axelrod makes a big run at him. He's coming good. But nope, he's not going to get close. Almost 2 at the end, length and 3/4, $6 to win on McKenzie. Great effort by Axelrod to finish second. Number 9, Trigger Warning at 81-1 finishes third. So let's first of all talk about the winner. Dick, tell us about McKenzie.
Well, I never questioned it. As you know, in Baffert we trust. Look, in talking to him, you could tell how confident he was. And then when we interviewed Jimmy when they got here Wednesday, he said, I feel really good about where we are. And that was right on the broadcast. So they were touting him. And then Maggie Wolfendale saw him in the paddock. She said it right on the show. Boy, this horse looks great. And he really did. And he ran to it. And not only did he run to it, And I said on the show, the track was really slow Saturday, so the times you had to adjust for how slow the track was. The 152 for a mile and 8 doesn't sound like much until you realize how slow the track was. That was a 107 buyer.
Wow.
And I was wrong about this. I'd like to be able to go back and do it, but in real time,
On the show.
you're just trying to do what you can. But this horse absolutely can win the Breeders' Cup Classic. And look, Bob does really good with 3-year-olds in the Classic, right? He won it 4 years ago. He won it again a couple years ago with Arrogate. So yeah, I think this horse McKenzie has every chance to have another PA Derby winner in the winner's circle of the Breeders' Cup.
Dick, as good as McKenzie was, we keep waiting for Hofberg.
Yes.
He was terrible.
Yeah, he didn't run at all. I ran into Billy in the parking lot when I walked out and came back in to write my story, and he was just shaking his head like he just never ran at all. And you picked Axelrod, who I thought ran tremendous again, and they just crushed the field. The field was nowhere. That's also an indication typically that the buyer's going to be pretty good when the field just disappears like that field did.
Mr. Freesdale Romans was convinced he was going to make the lead, be going. He seemed agitated in the walking ring before the race.
He was a little freaked out, and then he didn't brake, and then all of a sudden he's 4 deep on the first turn and out of it. It was just a question of how far he was going to get beat for that point.
Here's more with the winners of the Pennsylvania Derby.
It was a beautiful race. Jimmy, talk about your feelings.
Absolutely. You know, Mike got him out of the gate and had to get a position and elected to take him toward the outside, which he did. And, you know, we had him ready. He was, you know, it was close, but, you know, we got him ready. Bob got him ready, bottom line.
Mike, how do you summarize a day like this and a performance like that to end it all?
Well, if anything could take away the sting of a Triple Crown horse retiring, it's a horse like this. Just an incredible horse. Really, really proud of him today. Bob had him ready to come off the bench at a mile and 8. He's just a tremendous trainer. I mean, to get him ready, he's just brilliant at it. So I felt very confident that I could be aggressive early, move a little early if I had to, because I knew Bob had him ready.
It's kind of a slow pace up front. When you did make your move, did you have any second thoughts, or did he just respond the way you asked?
He really responded. You know, he's still learning as well. Although he's raced a few times, you know, he's had a lot of time off. He got to kind of looking around and gawking and looking at the tracks. And, you know, I had a really good hold of him today, so I didn't want to bother anybody. Last time I rode him, we got disqualified, of course. So today I had his head really picked up. But when I asked him to finish, he really got underneath me and galloped out really well.
Well, Dick, back-to-back Pennsylvania Derbies now for Mr. Baffert, and 3 in the last, what is it, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, Byron 2014, West Coast last year, and I actually sent Bob a text Saturday night. I said, forget, you're going to be known as the PA Derby trainer, not the Triple Crown trainer pretty soon.
Well, let's get to our first break. We got back here on Let's Go Racing. I mentioned Wild and Woolly.
Ooh.
Well, we are about to get Wild and Woolly. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
And Florence Giroux said go on Monomoy Girl, and she responded immediately.
Looking to join the thrill and excitement of thoroughbred racehorse ownership? Pewter Stable can get you started. With more than 25 years of experience under the leadership of Greg and Kate DeMasi, Pewter Stable is one of the industry's leaders in racing partnerships, winning hundreds of races and millions of dollars at racetracks all over the Mid-Atlantic, including New York. No markup, no management fees makes our partnerships unique and affordable. We are Pewter Stable.
Racehorses are pampered.
Treated with care and loved.
Nothing is more important than their health and their safety.
We do right by them.
And they do right by us.
The hard-working folks
who proudly earn our living
in Pennsylvania's horse racing
and breeding industries.
Horse racing is a lot of fun.
But it's so much more.
It provides tens of thousands of jobs.
Jobs. And billions in economic impact each year.
All across the Commonwealth.
Horse racing in Pennsylvania. It's a winner.
Welcome back, everyone, to Parks Racing for Let's Go Racing. As Dick and I recap the big day here this past Saturday, in this segment brought to you by Chapman Auto Group. Unless our emblem is on the back of your car or truck, you probably paid too much. The other $1 million Grade 1 race is the 3-year-old fillies at the Cotillion, 1 mile and 1/16. We've talked about the distance before, but Dick, that is the distance. Monomoy Girl comes in as the big favorite. She ends up going off at 1-2 for trainer Brad Cox and Florence Giroux on board. Dick, she has done absolutely everything they have asked of her this year. 5 consecutive wins and 4 Grade 1s in a row.
She is a neck from being unbeaten. That was her last start as a 2-year-old when she kind of drifted around the track. Keep that thought in mind as we get ready to watch the replay. But yeah, there's nothing bad to say about her. I thought what Brad Cox did in this summer was really smart. Passed the Alabama at 1.25 miles, gave her the 60 days to get ready for this race. She obviously runs well off any kind of a layoff, and then you got 6 weeks to the Breeders' Cup. It'll be the end of her season. And that, interestingly, will be the first start she's had at the same track twice this year. This is her 6th different racetrack, and she won everywhere she's been.
She's so versatile, wins at different distances, different racetracks. She is pretty amazing, Dick. Number 7, Midnight BISOU. Second choice here, 4-1. Mike Smith on board for Steve ASMUSSEN. She has had 2 shots so far at Monomoy Girl. She got a tough trip in the Kentucky Oaks that nonetheless ran pretty well. And the last time in the Coaching Club American Oaks basically just chased her around the track and could not gain.
Yeah, she was probably at a tactical disadvantage in that CCA Oaks. The surprise is she ran so poorly in the Alabama. Maybe it was the distance, because remember, that was the pace meltdown. Any closer is supposed to run well. She was 3rd, beaten almost 7 lengths. So that was a little surprising. That was the worst race, in my opinion, of her career. But she's always been in the money, and it is Mike Smith, and it is Steve ASMUSSEN. And they win lots of races, including when they show up here.
Separation of powers, 4-1 for Chad Brown, 6-1 on Wander Gadot. Let's get the call of the cotillion.
And they're off in the cotillion stakes. And it's Jump Ruler who gets a great start, and Jump Ruler goes right to the lead. Separation of powers out of those sprint races will move up early. Wonder Gadot is just in behind those 2. Monomoy Girl has a spot down at the inside. Midnight BISOU is unhurried. She's racing 5th on the far outside. And then it's Norma's Charm Chocolate Martini and Dixie Serenade. So they're into that first turn, and now Monomoy Girl will go up on the inside of Jump Ruler. Separation of powers laying just off the lead. Wonder Gadot is on the far outside as they move to the backstretch. The opening quarter was run in 24 seconds flat. Midnight BISOU is 5th right now. She's in behind horses and just better than 3 lengths behind. Long shot Norma's Charm rides the rails in 6th. Chocolate Martini is just better than 5 lengths behind, and Dixie Serenade continues to lag behind at the back. So Jump Ruler just a neck in front of Separation of Powers. Wonder Gadot comes up with those 2 on the far outside, and Monomoy Girl is right with the leaders on the inside. Separation of Powers got first run. The half mile was 48-3, and that's not very fast. And Florent Giroux said go on Monomoy Girl, and she responded immediately. Monomoy Girl is in front with 3/8 to go. Separation of Powers trying to quicken to stay with Monomoy Girl. Here comes Midnight BISOU now. Midnight BISOU is putting it a run. She's advanced to 3rd on the outside. Wonder Gadot was dropped back to 4th. Monomoy Girl is beginning to open up. Midnight BISOU, the only one in with a chance now on the inside of Separation of Powers, is dropped back to 3rd. It's Monomoy Girl, last furlongs on the inside. Here comes Midnight BISOU. Monomoy Girl drifting in just a bit. Midnight BISOU will have to switch to the outside. Midnight BISOU is coming on. Monomoy Girl digs in. Midnight BISOU on the outside, a late surge. Monomoy Girl, Midnight BISOU, Monomoy Girl, break out the crowd and let the coronation begin.
Well, Dick, Monomoy Girl hits the finish line in front, holding off Midnight BISOU by a neck. And number 4, Wonder Gadot, ends up finishing 3rd. And Dick, after they cross the wire, we have the claim of foul. Mike Smith claiming foul against Florent Giroux in the stretch. And the stewards, after about maybe, 10 minutes, they flipped the order of finish, and Midnight BISOU was declared the winner.
Yeah, they did. Look, I understand where they were coming from. There were certainly some things going on the track. First, Monomoy Girl's in front. Florent looks back to his left, sees Mike coming up to his inside. He just eases over to take the path away, which was smart.
Right.
And then
they're clear.
Well clear at that point. And then when they're coming later in the stretch, sort of heading out to the right, and maybe Midnight BISOU has to go a little farther. But Keith, there was never any contact.
No.
And I think that was the people who were saying, wait a second, this wasn't a great call. But I wouldn't have wanted to have to be in that situation. I get it. They made a call. People that bet at 1-2 are not pleased.
Right.
I understand it. Disappointing. End to a great race, but they'll race on, and they'll both be at 6 weeks in the Breeders' Cup this time.
Well, Dick, you mentioned there wasn't any contact. They really weren't even that close.
They weren't. They really weren't when you watch the head-on. Again, the stewards, I think, are trying to determine what I've always said is the impossible. What would have happened?
Right.
And I just think it's a bar too high, which is why, as you know, I have always been an advocate of first horse to the wire wins, then you don't have any subjectivity, because right now, to me, it's an impossible task to determine what would have happened.
And you had an interesting point on the show. If Mike Smith had stayed on the inside where he was when he first moved, then what do we got?
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see, but we'll never know.
$10.40 to win on Midnight BISOU, and here's more with Mike Smith.
They both ran brilliant races. You know, you hate to see it come down to this, but man, I mean, I thought I had to alter course. It certainly cost me cost me some ground doing that. Then afterwards, we went out even further, and I was on his heels. I couldn't go back in. So I mean, he kind of had me in, and he had me back out. So it's certainly worth taking a good look at. And if you ask me, I'd have to say it cost me the race.
And I know, because your horse, Midnight BISOU, was still coming towards the end.
He's running brilliant, see? So then I come out here, and then you'll see, and he keeps coming out. Now I can't go back in. It's too late at that point. So it just cost me at least that much, and that's all I lost by.
Well, Dick, of course, in real time, the cotillion came before the Pennsylvania Derby.
Yes.
We showed them the other way. But
We did.
within the course of an hour, Mike Smith wins 2 Grade 1 races and $2 million races.
Well, so that's 3 out of 4 for Mike in the last 2 years, and really should have been 4 out of 4. It wasn't his finest moment on Abel Tasman last year in the cotillion, but when he shows up, just bet him blindly, especially if he's with Mr. Baffert.
You ready for the Gallant Bob?
I am.
Yes.
I'm not sure I'm quite ready for the end of the Gallant Bob, but I am ready for the Bob.
Grade 3 Gallant Bob, 3-year-olds at 6 furlongs for $300,000. You love number 10 Forense Fire. You said bet the mortgage. 7-5 Jason Service. Irad Ortiz Jr. ran huge to win the one-turn Grade 3 Dwyer. And last time out, as you pointed out, against the bias at Saratoga, ran a terrific third in the Grade 1 Alan Jerkins.
Yeah, Traverse Day, if you didn't have speed, and generally if you weren't near the rail, you had no chance. Forense Fire was eliminated and still came running at the finish. I knew he was going to run huge. I was actually surprised to see him in this race, Keith, at 3/4, but Jason Service wanted to give himself some options with Forense Fire, but I'd have been shocked if he got beaten this race. I was actually shocked as it turned out,
yes,
but not by that.
Not by that. Number 4, Engage, the second choice at 2-1. That's Jose Ortiz for Chad Brown. And Dick, he has been in some really tough 3-year-old sprints. Hasn't quite won them yet.
No, he hasn't. He's been close. You keep waiting for the breakthrough, and anytime it's Brown and Ortiz, they're going to get overbet, and I understand because they win a lot.
Dick, a memorable running of the Gallant Bob.
The most ever.
Here's the call.
Forced in front with 5/16 to go, but here comes Forense Fire, and where she told me to go, making a strong run on the far outside. There's room inside for 7 Trumpets, and Forced is giving way 3 abreast now at the top of the stretch. 7 Trumpets on the inside. Forense Fire is in between, and where she told me to go, running a big one on the far outside. Inside the final 8, 7 Trumpets gives way. It's now down to Forense Fire, and where she told me to go. They're headed in for the lead with a 16 to go. Forense Fire the inside, where she told me to go on the outside. Down to the finish, it's Forense Fire.
Well, Dick, a terrific running of the Gallant Bob. Forense Fire, who I expected to be coming from off the pace, was out like a shot.
No, he wasn't
he was right there in front, and goes on to win it by a neck at $4.80 to win. The 9-horse, Where She Told Me to Go, who was 17-1, who was last of the first furlong, and about 83 wide on the far turn, makes a huge run. And then, Dick, what was that at the end? Did he try? That was a savaging. He tried to bite him.
It's a question of, was he trying to bite Forense Fire, or was he trying to bite Irad Ortiz, or both? Nobody got hurt, fortunately. Keith, I've seen this a few times before. I know you said you've never seen it in a race.
32 years, I'd never seen a savaging.
I have seen it a couple of times, but it's very unusual. And I don't know whether it's the horse just got irritated because he couldn't get by the other horse. I'm not sure what prompts that, but the fans got a kick out of it.
Oh, they
You could
loved
hear it
it,
live,
yes.
and then each time they showed the replay on the big board, it's like, So it was an interesting day out here, to say the least. We saw some things we haven't seen before.
And I got to give credit to our buddy Lafitte on the broadcast, maybe the best line of the day. If you can't beat him, bite him. Absolutely. Amazing running of the Gallant Bob. Dick, we talked about it last week on the show. Ryan Archie Diacono, who made the pass. I don't like the pass, but he made the pass.
I like the pass.
You did
I like the shot,
Yes,
too.
you did.
Since my story was like 2 seconds from needing to be filed in Houston 2.5 years ago, I was rooting at that point for Villanova.
Well, he came out at a great day.
He did. Ryan Arch went to high school at the Chamonix, right across Route 1, the point guard for the Villanova 2016 National Champions, who, as you said, made the pass to the Chris Jenkins shot. Was out here for the first time at the track, signing autographs, very popular, and then he came over on the set and hung out with Lafitte and I, and then he did a little riders up. He practiced it, and then he got it right.
Here's more with our buddy Ryan.
Riders up! I'm excited. There seems to be a lot of great energy, and I'm excited to be here to call Riders Up, and I'm looking forward to the whole day and the whole process of everything.
That's time to head to our next break. We come back here on Let's Go Racing. Gee, I wonder who the jockey of the week's going to be. And we have race recap as well. Stay with us. We'll be back with that after this.
What does Chapman's 7 locations and 10 car brands mean to you? It means a huge selection of quality pre-owned vehicles, all makes and models, many one-owner, low-mileage certified with miles of factory warranty remaining. Safety checked, meticulously detailed, and each come with a free Carfax report so you can buy with complete confidence at any Chapman Auto store near you. Or shop online anytime at ChapmanPreowned.com.
If our emblem is not on your car or truck, you probably did pay too much.
Welcome back, everyone, to Parks Racing for Let's Go Racing. Got to give out the weekly awards brought to you by the Turning for Home program, the website turningforhome.org. Dick, $2 million races, 2 grade ones in less than an hour. How about Mike Smith?
I think he wins.
Jockey of the week.
Mark him up.
And how about your man Bob Baffert?
Again. And he didn't even show up this year and he wins. Come on,
It's amazing. Dick, let's get to race recap. Before the 3 big wins, we had 2 other pretty big ones.
Yes,
this is the Pennsylvania Derby Champion Stakes. We were looking forward to seeing number 7 Collected, a grade 1 winner, and second at the Breeders' Cup Classic is off at 2-5. And Smith and Baffert again, but Dick Collected had nothing.
He really didn't. Baffert said he needed a race, and boy, did he ever. But the great Aztec
gosh.
Now 7 for 7 this year for George Navarro and our good buddy Joe Bessaker. What a claim. They claimed him about a year ago. He's won $300,000. And Joe's talking about maybe the claiming crown next. He was talking about the Breeders' Cup. I tried to calm him down a little bit, so maybe the claiming crown for Aztec.
Why didn't we have 12,500 back in August? My goodness. Dick, let's take a look at the alphabet soup over that good turf horse. Mike Maker had the top 2 choices, Fast and Accurate, and James Byrne. And what do you know? They're 1-2 here. Look at Fast and Accurate. He's tough.
Yeah, and this is a son of Hanson. Remember him? He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the gray horse, and owned by my man Kendall Hanson. And Mike Maker may be the best turf trainer in the country. I love him, and this horse gets up at 9-10.
$3.80 to win on Fast and Accurate. Dick, Eye on Racing. It's a huge weekend. The Vosburg. How about the Vosburg?
The Vosburg for the horse in Barn 4, Stall 4, who your wife gave carrots to, as did I last week. The great Imperial Hit will be in the Vosburg as his final prep for the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Boy, is he a strong-looking horse. Dick, get out on the West Coast. It's 4 grade 1s. We got some big action there as well.
Yeah, one of the big unknowns about the Breeders' Cup this year, Accelerate's going to be the big favorite in the Awesome Again, which is the big race out in California. John Sadler, who's had a great career, is 0 for 41 in the Breeders' Cup, and he's probably going to have the favorite, certainly in the Classic, and maybe in the Dirt Mile. So people are going to have to steel themselves. Am I going to bet 0 for 41 here at 8-5?
Well, Dick, let's get to our final segment, News and Notes. We will be right back after this.
Over the past 30 years, the Mid-Atlantic Equine Medical Center has established itself as one of the premier veterinary hospitals in the country. We built our reputation working on horses of various breeds and disciplines, including Kentucky Derby and Hambletonian winners. Supported by a state-of-the-art diagnostic imaging arsenal, our team performs upwards of 400 surgical procedures every year. You choose a horse because of its heritage. Your hospital should be no different.
Welcome back, everyone, to Parks Racing for Let's Go Racing News and Notes. Our final segment brought to you by Pewter Stable. Log on to their website at pewterstable.com. Become an owner today. Trish Bowman has stopped in. Our man Bruce Casella, Dick Girardi, Keith Jones, and Dick. Money being thrown around the winner's circle. The Mid-Atlantic Equine Clinic. And a big fundraiser. Fun had by all, and they had some big bucks to give out to Turning for Home.
And a $10,000 check for one of the great causes here at the racetrack.
And more with Danielle Montgomery.
Yeah, it was a big day for us. We did a Mid-Atlantic does all of our surgeries, and they actually help us save so many more horses because they do them at cost for us. So they did a presentation from a golf outing they had for us in June, and we did that presentation here. We also did a jockey autograph table together with the PDJF, and we raised some extra money. We raised enough money to probably put a horse through surgery, which is great. And we have some other things going on today. We're spotlighting a raffle that's going to be pulled on Breeders' Cup Saturday, and we're auctioning off an Arrogate halter and a Songbird halter, so you have 2 chances to win.
If people aren't here on track and able to participate in those events, what can they do to support Turning for Home?
They can go to patha.org, and on our Turning for Home site, we'll have the raffle auction tickets that they can buy through eBay.
We certainly appreciate all your efforts on behalf of all our racehorse friends, and keep up the good work.
We'll take a terrific afternoon. I'm still trying to get over that savaging. Dick, when I get irritated with you, I don't try to bite you.
No, you don't.
No.
It's very important
That is
you don't.
Well, Dick, we continue with racing 4 days a week here, 12:55 post. Will join us next week here on Let's Go Racing.
And they're off in the Grade 1 Cotillion Stakes. Questing digs in by Miss Aurelia on the outside. A dramatic stretch run of the Cotillion. They're headed in for the lead as they come to the wire. It's by Miss Aurelia.